Thank you. Woo! Just got off here in Chelsea. You can already hear the train running too. Alright, I've made it to the Chelsea T-stop. So, see the median Blue Bike station there. As you can see, there is both commuter rail service and Silver Line, and today we're taking the Silver Line. Unfortunately, I had very little time because the bus was departing right as I got there. The Silver Line is the MBTA's not-quite-bus rapid transit service consisting of 6 routes along 2 major corridors. The first corridor is the South Boston Piers Transitway, used by the Silver Line 1, which goes to Boston Logan Airport Terminals, the SL2, which goes to the Design Center and Cruise Terminal, and the SL3, which goes to Chelsea. An additional route, the SLW, makes a short turn at Silver Line Way to increase frequency in the transitway. The second corridor is the Washington Street Corridor, which is used by the SL4, which runs from South Station on the surface level to Nubian Square, and the SL5, which runs from Downtown Crossing in Boylston to Nubian Square. These 2 routes are identical apart from their inbound terminus. All routes use 60-foot articulated buses in unique silver livery. At least in this section of the Silver Line, SL3 of the stations are nice. There are a few reasons why the MBTA Silver Line does not quite qualify as bus rapid transit in most cases. Save for the 3 stops in the South Boston Transitway Tunnel, there is no off-board fare collection. While some portions of the system are on dedicated transitways, the buses otherwise run in mixed traffic or unenforced dedicated lanes without significant transit signal priority. Many of the stations are sheltered and have seating, but amenities are not consistent and are mostly just prettier bus stops. This is Airport Station, which provides connections to the Blue Line and Massport shuttle buses. If I'm going to South Station, I usually transfer here to the inbound SL3. As a result of these bountiful connections, the facilities at this station are actually pretty good despite being crammed in the middle of bypass roads and overpasses. It's tunnel time. The SL1 and SL3 both used the Ted Williams Tunnel to access East Boston. When the Sumner Tunnel was closed over the summer, this tunnel became the only direct road connection between the northeast areas and downtown. As a result, the T made a lot of the transit in the Chelsea and Revere areas free, and I used that heavily to my advantage over the summer. This stop is Silver Line Way. It looks very unassuming, but it used to be a very important stop on the Silver Line, where dual-mode trolley buses would switch between diesel and overhead catenary, as diesel emissions are not allowed within the transitway. I was always entertained by the process and hearing the engine switch off and electric motors spin up,
Silver Line Way,
even if it took several minutes. Unfortunately, trolley bus service ended across the entire MBTA bus network in July 2023. Alright, I have made it to South Station. These are where all the Silver Line buses board down here. So 1, 2, and 3. Chelsea, all the way on the South Station. I think I might try the SL4 next. Didn't think I'd see work here. I work in software, I don't want to deal with this. So anyway, I was on the SL3, and so that explored all of Chelsea's transitways and the South Boston Piers transitway. And now I'm heading to the SL5, not the SL4 like I just said. If anything, this is a good excuse to go around downtown. Alright, so I'm here at Temple Place, waiting for the SL5. As you can see, the facilities here are the same as any other bus stop.
Silver Line to Nubian Station.
Okay, passing the Common now. So the primary difference. The primary difference between the SL4 and SL5 is one of them, the SL4 goes to South Station, the SL5 goes to Boylston and Downtown Crossing. I've found the buses themselves to be fairly nice so far. All of them have been cleaned and they're as comfortable as the rest of the newer New Flyer buses in service. The information displays are working well and the speakers are clear. Okay, that was Tufts Medical Center. Now we're on the Washington Street corridor. This is the corridor that the old elevated used to go along. Yeah, the old elevated used to go along the Washington Street corridor, and now we get to watch this guy parallel park until the late 80s when it was torn down and replaced with the orange line that goes now through, Southwest Corridor and Forest Hills and all that. So the SL4 and 5 were created in the mid-2000s to somewhat alleviate the loss of the transit connections from Dudley Square, now Nubian Square, to downtown. This is not a dedicated transitway like the SL1 and SL3, but there are bus lanes, supposedly. I've noticed, at least on this trip, is that the bus doesn't actually stop at all the stops unlike the other Silver Line routes because, they're like actually full BRT sort of, as opposed to this, which is just a regular bus with nice stops. There actually is a bus lane. Alright, so I made it to Nubian Square, also formerly known as Dudley. This is a former terminus of the elevated, and it's now been turned into a major bus transfer hub. There's a lot of different berths. I think there are like 5 or 6 platforms here. So it's extremely convenient for transfers. Just every single bus for like this area of Boston ends up coming here somehow. Alright, so I just got off the SL5, which runs between Boylston, Downtown Crossing, and Nubian, and now I'll be getting on the SL4 shortly. You can see the boarding location there. But yeah, as I mentioned, most of the signs you'll see on the T will refer to this as Dudley, but this is actually Nubian. It was renamed in 2020. Two of them have pulled up. Neither of them are going. Okay. Facing backwards this time. But that was eventful. There were like 3 Silverline buses all piled up. So now I'm on the SL4. This pretty much follows the same route as the SL5, but ends up going to South Station instead of Boylston and Downtown Crossing. This bus is super crowded. So we went there, and that guy was Thank you. That was the SL4 to South Station from Nubian. The display in here is a little worse for wear, but that completes the Washington corridor for the Silver Line. So all I would have left is the SL2 and SL1. I've never actually ridden the SL2, so that'll be interesting. The SL4 was very crowded, and I'm glad I got on that because I said the next bus was coming in like 40 minutes, which makes sense. I feel like the SL5 probably handles that corridor better. So all I have left is the SL2 to Design Center and the SL1 to the airport. I'll be ending with the SL1 just because I can then transfer to the airport and get home that way, or transfer to airport station and get home that way, but I have never ever been on the SL2. I know it goes over to like the cruise terminals, but I've never been over there. But overall, this little tour of the Silver Line has been fun. Going down the Chelsea Transitway and the South Boston Pier Transitway and the Ted Williams Tunnel and all that. I haven't had to wait too long either. This is like the longest I'll have to wait just because I had a pretty not great connection between the SL4 and the SL2. But so far, everything else has been good. So, you're going to be wondering why the SL4 and SL5 have a different place to stop at than the SL1, 2, and 3, and that is because there originally was going to be a through tunnel under the Common to connect the South Boston Transitway with the Washington Street corridor. But unfortunately, due to cost overruns, that pretty much becoming basically the Little Dig, it was instead replaced with surface running. And here's like a proper map. You can see you've done all the way down that. And come back, walk over here, go up, and we'll be taking the SL2, and I'll probably either walk or come back and then take the SL1. As mentioned before, the South Boston Transitway used to run with overhead wires because fossil fuels and enclosed tunnels are generally bad, so buses would switch to overhead catenary at Silverline Way. Once these trolley buses aged and became too complicated to maintain, the MBTA switched to using diesel battery hybrid buses. This saves passengers time by eliminating a several-minute-long process for the mode switch, but are less cool, and now this can happen. the SL2. I am one of 2 people who got on board. Yeah, I kind of figure that this would be one of the lesser used routes just because this kind of just goes to the seaport. It doesn't really go make any other connections like the Silver Line 1 or the SL3. A few more people got on, but other than that, here we go. This tunnel is considered part of the South Boston Piers Transit Way and is used by the SL1, 2, and 3. They diverge at Silver Line Way, where the SL1 continues to the airport, the SL2 goes to the Design Center, and the SL3 goes to Chelsea. Okay, we have exited the transit way, and I'm now, or at least exiting the tunnel, and now I am the only person on this bus. As I expected, most people used this to connect to like Courthouse and World Trade Center. So now I'm just experiencing this on my own for the first time. So I guess it's time to see what the design center is like.
Silver Line Way. For any unattended bags or suspicious behavior to the bus driver.
I was mistaken. I was not the only person on this bus. Yeah. Thank you. You too. So anyway, this is Design Center Place. It's pretty much just the cruise terminal. Like, full stop. I don't think there's anything else here. I think it's like you can go here to go on a cruise, go on the ships. There's some stuff over here. Besides that, this is pretty much all there is. So, yeah, that's where the SL2 goes. But now I'm just going to Silver Line Way because I'm not going all the way back to South Station just to take the airport bus. We've explored enough of South Station today. Obviously not a lot of activity in the seaport. Like, there's Harpoon Brewery. There's like some seafood processing centers, I think. Like, really more for mercantile things. Oh, there's the SL2. I mean, yeah, I can literally see it. Just as International Cargo Center of New England. So yeah, there isn't a whole lot out here. But duck boats. Apparently there are a lot of duck boats. So yeah, that was sort of everything except for the SL1. I figure I might as well go into somewhat of the future of the Silver Line. So with the bus network redesign, there will be some routes cut. So like the Silver Line Way one, which normally just does a quick short turn to increase frequency in the transit way, will be replaced with just increased frequency on the SL2. The SL4 and SL5 will be merged together to service just one route. And as a result, that means that the SL5 should probably end up servicing like South Station and Chinatown and Boylston and the Washington Street corridor. And then potentially the SL3 may get extended all the way to Sullivan Square because of a potential new transitway development that is being planned in Everett to connect Everett Square to Sullivan. So, exciting stuff abound. I sure don't see any of these overhead wires that it mentions. I'm curious where they would be. Alright, this is Silver Line Way. We have an SL1 bus pulling in. And there's an SL1 bus right now. So, time for the SL1, the final one.
You can scan the QR code for flight info. All Delta International flights depart from the right terminal, please.
And that was the SL1. That was the tour of the Silver Line. At Airport Station, I'll be taking the Blue Line home. I hope you enjoyed my exploration of the MBTA Silver Line, as I had a fun time. See you on the next trip.